Okay, part 2 of this vinyl thread video. The first thread was about 3 favorite vinyl labels. Took some time because I wanted to show different label variations of these 3 Swedish labels. The next thing to show 5 Blues LPs. I'm not an expert on blues on record, although I would like to know more, hear more, get ideas on what to find. But I have some blues albums and I picked out 5 of them here. First of all, Original Folk Blues by Smoky Hog. I like the label, that's quite cool. On the Kent Records label. California-based label. This is from the 60s, sometime in the 60s, and it's very good blues. And I don't know that much about Smoky Hog, but I wouldn't say no to more records from him. Okay, then quite new issue, although the content is old. I'm a great fan of Blind Blake. Made some recordings in the 1920s, and he had a very special way of playing the guitar, a bit like, well, it's hard to describe unless you actually heard, but it's a bit almost, he plays the blues guitar almost like if he was playing the piano. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. Still, this is a very good compilation that I bought the last year. It's an Italian compilation of the Monk label, Florence bass label. The sound quality is quite varied because some of the tracks here are taken from quite worn blues 78 RPMs. Well, of course they are extremely rare in good condition, so you take what you can get, and I was very happy when I found this because I heard recordings with it for, well, many years ago, over 10 years ago the first time, and I was really intrigued by the way he played the guitar. So I can recommend Blind Blake. And if you find some 78 RPMs with him that you don't want, well, you know who to call. Okay, another happy bluesman was Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers. He played the blues on this very cheap Japanese electric guitar, and there was a drummer, and they didn't have a bass in this House Rockers band. They had another man playing the bass lines on another guitar, so it's very lo-fi, but it's a very you get happy from listening to this. He had a lot of fun, this guy, and well, I've heard some stories that he was very rarely sober while playing, but he had a good time, but he died quite early as well. Okay, then I'll pick an interesting compilation that I found some time ago. Actually, I don't remember finding this, but so I was, well, I found it in my shelf, so I guess I bought it sometime. And I listened to it quite recently, and quite an interesting compilation. The Anthology of British Blues, Me and the Devil, as it says here. You find Tony McPhee, Joan Kelly, Simon Steve, Dave Kelly, and Andy Fernback on this album. I think I bought this up in Luleå. I think so. I seem to recall that. Anyway, this is released on the Imperial Records label, and let's see what the label looks like. Yeah, typical Imperial from the time. Very good compilation from the 60s when blues became very popular in Great Britain. Okay, the kind of blues are like most is the kind that's sometimes called Cajun blues, and or Zydeco, the kind of music they play around New Orleans and Louisiana, Lafayette. And the king of the Zydeco, as mentioned on the album Graceland by Paul Simon, the king of the Bayou was Clifton Chenier, and this is, in my view, his best album, Boogaloo's a Boogie. This is I'm not the kind of guy who likes to dance, as you probably can guess, but this kind of music, this album really starts twitching in my legs every time I hear it. So, highly recommended. Oh, one moment. Sorry, Mr. Cornelius Vreeswijk wanted to be turned over, so to speak. Okay, that was blues. Genre that hasn't developed enough in your collection. Well, there are lots of genres that almost doesn't even exist in my collection, like hip hop, because I don't like it that much. Disco, because, well, boring. I find it boring. 80s, New Age, and I don't find it that interesting either. But I have to say, I spoke about blues. I feel that I've just started with the blues. I haven't got that far yet. I've started checking it around, buying this album, buying that album. I'm still not into it, although I like it a lot. So I think I have to pick the blues genre then, because, well, I like to discover more about of that. Sorry, I'm going to have a bit of Yard Dog coffee. I've got a blend here called Yard Dog. It tastes wonderful, and I'm drinking it from my Beatles beaker. And I have got some Russian sweets here too. I'm going to eat them later. I'm not going to talk to you with sweets in my mouth. 5 music DVDs that you like. I don't have that many music DVDs, but I've got some here that I really like. Let's see, where shall I start? Yeah, I think I should start with Elvis, 1968 comeback. I don't need to explain that. I like Elvis, and this is very important recording for him, and it is a very well made DVD from it, so very nice. Okay, 11 years ago it was some sort of jubilee around Johann Sebastian Bach. I think it was 250 years since he died or something like that. Then there was a concert from Leipzig Market Square with lots of different jazz musicians and so on, called Swinging Bach, and they showed that on Swedish television. I watched it, and I fell in love immediately, and I started to look for a DVD recording of this. I had it on VHS tape directly from the TV transmission, but that's not the same as DVD. Anyway, I found this, well, 4 years ago, shortly after I moved here to Stockholm. It's Bobby McFerrin and guests. Bobby McFerrin is the great star here, but also we have Jacques Lausier Trio from playback fame, German brass, Quintessence, saxophone quintet, Turtle Island string quartet. They are quite cool. And the King Singers. Although I think that the greatest moment on this DVD is when Bobby McFerrin and the audience on this Market Square in Leipzig together sings the Ave Maria theme, with Bobby McFerrin making the And the whole audience, thousands of people singing in unison Ave Maria, and the rain is falling down, and even though you see other people, they're so happy to be there and experiencing this music, and you see the shine in their eyes. And I thought when I saw this on TV, this was the coolest thing I ever seen on TV, and I still think it's a magic moment. So if nothing else, that's one reason to have this. Okay, Lauryn Hill, the MTV Unplugged concert from 2002, also very good. I like Lauryn Hill a lot, and I just wish that she would start producing some music because we want more. One of the best MTV Unplugged concerts made. Okay, and then one of the most famous music movies ever, Martin Scorsese's The Last Waltz. When I discovered the band shortly after the millennium changed, I also found this, or I bought this, and I watched it over and over and over again, and I still think it's super great music. That's the 4 favorite ones. I wanted 5 ones, so I pick another one that I like it, but it's mainly because it's a very important in rock and roll history. Woodstock Diaries. Not one of my absolute favorites like the 4 I showed here, but still, you ought to have it if you're interested in pop music, rock music. Okay, let's see now. 2 more questions. How often do you get records that are warped? Not very often. I've only maybe 1 or 2 times found records that were too warped to play. Sometimes, or maybe 78 RPMs might be too warped to play on my Lenco record player because the tone arm of the pickup is too light. So. But not vinyl records. I can just think of one example. That's when I bought a copy of Elvis Presley's Today that was big warp, so it was impossible to play the first track, Trouble. I remember that. I think it's a bigger problem when they are badly centered, these records, because then they become quite horrible to listen to. Okay, finally, if you could steal 3 records from the vinyl community, well, I have to tell you this. Well, I'm an honest man. I work hard. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't steal. But I lie quite a lot, so I'm a great liar. So no, I'm not going to ask. I'll answer that because stealing is wrong, very wrong. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for now. Bye. Have a nice weekend.